So, you're obviously here to learn about the future of construction. Let me see how I can help. Well, this is where I started, right? Okay, what is the future of construction? The good news I've learnt today is that most of you are already operating in the future, so there probably won't be a lot of surprises coming up in the next few minutes. Maybe just one or two near the end. Oh, thanks, Grace, for seeing my WhatsApp. Okay. So I'm one of those nerdy people that when I don't know the answer to something, which is more often than not, I go to find some research. And I'm still, as my team know, a big fan of paper alongside digital research. So has anyone here read this Converge book by Dr. Catherine Ball? Has anyone seen her speak? Oh, well, lucky one or two of us, maybe just me. She spoke at the Institute of Directors Conference a couple of years ago. She's written this great book called Converge. I think it's great, and we will potentially share some of those insights. So other than just a bit of book research, what else is going to get us going, thinking about the future? Well, this critical bit, right? Imagination. And I think we've heard a lot about that today. So first of all, a little bit about this book. It's essentially an optimistic study on life as we know it in the decade ahead. It's not too far in the future, is it? The next decade. Okay. Well, let's dig a bit deeper. This is Dr. Catherine Ball's opening statement in the book, and I can relate to this because I also am a human 3D printer. I make people. I've made two people, two young women, aged 13 and 16 currently, and growing as we speak. I am a creator, a consumer, a resource user. I like that she is a scientific futurist. I can't claim to being that, but sounds cool. And I also like what she says about the future. And I think that's what we've heard here today too, right? The future is interconnected, the future is powered by purpose, and most hopefully, the future is an incredible place. Now she goes on, and I'll just distill really quickly some of the key things I got out of the book, which is around this kind of complex combination, around how we kind of converge and then diverge, if you know the whole, lovely triangle from design thinking, and of course the sustainability framework, right? So in terms of combining, we're very much talking about complexity, about hybrid. We're talking absolutely about how technology mixes. So patterns, predictions, and prescience, which is a lovely word I had to look up, which essentially means foresight. Okay, so the interesting bit here is that complex thing between humans and technology. And we've had lots of insight into that today, and I've loved it every time someone has mentioned people and human beings, because that seems to me the critical part around technology. And then around divergence, this is for all of us. Most of you are not just thinking like futurists, you're actually acting like futurists in your roles today. And the real provocation for all of us here is who else can we bring on the journey? Who else can we get on the bus? And how can we keep those buses' wheels rolling? Thank you, Construction Sector Accord, and others, everyone in the room, towards the next 10 years, towards the future, as in as far as we can see it, right? So the main thing here is every now and then we have to completely wipe the slate clean and not let the constraints of today hold us back. That's super challenging, but that is something humans can do because we have that question, the curiosity, the creativity, right? And all within the context of paying it forward. And this is massively confronting for all of us the last few months. I'm sure none of us are untouched in thinking about our environment, sustainability. I did see Emily go very quickly over that just over 6 years slide before 1.5 degrees warming. That was burned into my retina. I'm sure it was yours too, especially if you are also 3D human printers. So the current global economic system, as we know, places huge value into places that are really difficult for us. You know, our planet can't sustain this. And this is a really good reminder from Dr. Kath's book. You know, we don't inherit, we are simply borrowing. So we have an absolute imperative to leave things better, at least better than how they are today. So, now for the really grunty bit. I'm sure you're dying to know what are the 6 trends that will shape the future of construction technology. Well, huge surprise. One is 3D printing. One is robotics, augmented reality or AR, the Internet of Things or IoT, artificial intelligence or AI, and sustainable construction. No huge surprises there, right? Everyone in this room is already across those things. So let's see where they're going to take us and what we need to know about them today. So 3D printing. This picture is of a childcare centre. Some of you may know it, here in New Zealand. So let's see what we're learning. 3D printing technology is revolutionising the construction industry. It's allowing builders to create complex structures with less waste at a lower cost. We're now absolutely thinking about waste, aren't we? Especially after both Amy Marks and Jane Henley's presentations. So with 3D printing, construction professionals can produce building components, parts, and even entire structures with unprecedented accuracy and speed. Hallelujah. All right, how are we going to do this? Well, obviously with the help of our friends, the robots. Robotic technology is changing the way construction sites operate, from autonomous vehicles to robotic assistants. I'm not sure which construction site this is. This is one in the future, clearly. These machines can help with tasks such as excavation, like this cute little orange guy, transportation, and heavy lifting. Importantly, this is going to reduce the risk of injury. If we can take people out of construction sites, surely things will go more seamlessly, right? And increasingly more efficient, hence that productivity piece. That third area is augmented reality, or AR. There's just too many acronyms here, isn't there? AR and AI, especially. So AR tech is being used to provide immersive virtual tours of construction sites. We saw some of that today. We saw the HoloLens at the Makers site. This technology can help construction professionals visualise and plan complex projects, reducing the likelihood of errors during the construction phase. It's all looking rosy in the future, isn't it? 3 more to go. The fourth one is Internet of Things, or IoT. And this is basically the connected technology that we're using every day, which is going to be allowing construction professionals to monitor and manage a construction site remotely. This tech can help builders optimise processes, save time and resources, and improve safety. And I don't know if anyone's using sensors like this. Anyone? This one's available locally. We saw it at the High Performer Building Centre a couple of weeks ago when we were recording our Tall Stories podcast in Auckland. It's used to measure the moisture component inside CLT. The fifth one is artificial intelligence, or AI, the buzz of the minute. And AI tech is becoming increasingly prevalent in the construction industry with its ability to analyse large amounts of data to improve decision-making, predict project outcomes, and enhance safety. Oh, that predict one for the future could be useful. The sixth one, of course, sustainable construction. Not brand new. Jane Henley, as we know, has been working in this area for a long time. Many of you, this is absolutely ingrained. Emily Newmarch is giving us new ways to be able to measure the carbon in our digitally led projects. So as we know, it's going to become more important. In fact, it's going to become critical as we reduce the impact of construction on the environment. We simply don't have a choice in that one. The use of eco-friendly materials and techniques such as green roofs and solar panels can significantly reduce the carbon footprint of a building. Well, where are we going to head next? Well, the future of construction tech is exciting and promising. These innovations can help construction professionals save time, reduce costs and improve safety, that's you, while building structures that are more sustainable and resilient. By embracing these technologies, you can create a more efficient, safe and sustainable future. Well, I think you knew most of that, didn't you? And the reason I think that is because the future, the crystal ball future, is exactly where you're operating today. Converge can give us some ideas about what's happening. But actually, we do need to wipe the slate clean and imagine a future without the practicality of today. And this provocation from Dr. Kath's book I thought was particularly hard-hitting. At some point this century, we might be able to upload our physical selves digitally into a place beyond the confines of biology. Now I'm getting super freaked out. I don't know about you guys. Could we grow bodies and download a copy of ourselves every now and then? Could we edit ourselves and choose to change how we self-create? Well, this is just taking that whole influencer and, you know, Instagram filter thing to a whole nother level. So if the future is about digital and curiosity, then it's obviously about AI and the creativity that we can put into the things that we do in the future. It's probably no surprise that most of this presentation was the result of asking nicely, see I said please, asking ChatGPT to tell me what a futurist would present to an audience of technology professionals in the construction sector. That's you. So thanks for the help, mate. But there's one missing element, isn't there? I'm still human. And you're still human. So the really important question to ask ourselves today is, what part are we playing in the future? Well, the good news is there's those two aspects, the digital and the human. And the bit that I think everyone here will be really pleased to see is that BIM will be the digital backbone for the future of construction. So you're all in the right place at the right time, doing the right stuff. And then there's the humanity bit. So I think this is a great way to look at things. In the face of an increasingly commercial and technology-driven world, we need to start doing things that only humans can do. We are really good at creativity. We can develop ideas about the way we want to live our lives. And I particularly like this next line. We don't want to sit like robots in front of our computers. Let the robots do the robotic stuff and let us be more human, which is exactly what Amy was telling us this morning. And all I can say is hallelujah. So that's my little insight into the future with the help of my friends and my phone. One other little question I had was to a couple of people in the room who are much younger than me and will be around much longer than me, and I asked them if they could tell me one thought about the future. And they said, we need to be thinking about how we are upskilling our young people. Thank you. So the good news is, I said there would be some free stuff. We're going to give away a few copies of Converge. All you need to do is email us and tell us a thought about the future. We may or may not attribute it to you. So under the cloak of anonymity, please tell us something about the future that might surprise or amuse or intrigue us. And we will make sure a book goes out to you. Please include your snail mail address. All right? So that's our little bit of goodness for you. Just a couple of other things to reiterate that kind of complexity between the hybrid personal and the digital. There were a couple of quotes I just wanted to pull out from people we'd heard today. Dennis, in your opening, you talked about communication needing the purpose and the personal. That was so critical, right? Sean talked to us about how a digital twin is a fusion between digital intent and built reality. Rebecca reiterated that the complexity between digital and human, or actually that whole presentation was a mixture of online and human, right? So that's what brought it to life. Richard reminded us that we need good people, even if the system is crap. So loved that one. In order to get good outcomes. So this is really where the baton or the rako, it passes to you all. It's a people journey, as Richard told us. As Kylie said, it's about people. I think you get the drift, right? All right, so it's all over to you all. Thank you.
Well, now I'm going first. So give me 2 seconds while I go onto my digital platform, my iPad in reality, and just go back and have a look at today. Amy, well, what a way to start the day. I felt like an American tornado just hit us and reminded us that in reality, cool. BIM is cool, digital is cool, and the way in the future is going to be really good. She reminded me that I actually need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in this environment. And now that I'm a gold card bearer, and probably not at the being able to give advice to people older than myself, I am available should anybody want to hear some of the things that I've learned over the last 46 years in this industry. I'd never really looked at ordering pizza in that way. And so unfortunately now, whenever I do, I am going to think of construction and why we don't do it that way. Andy, be the change. Right, cool, yes, we should be the change, all of us. But we also need to encourage all those who are not in the room to be part of this change. The other thing he said, which is something I'm going to take back to my office, is about monthly as-builts. We just finished a project in Auckland where it was 12 and a half to 13 months in design. It was 18 months in construction, and it took 3.5 months to get code compliance. Just ridiculous. Sorry, I have to say that. Janet said about inclusivity. Well, I include everybody. There's no reason not to include everybody. I have to give best slide to Sean on his disaster response slide. I thought that was absolutely cool. Just really cool. I like the gaming that he obviously was doing while he was doing everything else. But so I give him the best slide. Richard reminded us that we do have a balancing act. I'm a Libran. So you have a balancing act between good systems and good people. Let's weigh it towards the people and then look at the systems. Kylie, we've known each other for a long time, haven't seen each other for 20 years, but it felt like I'd actually just seen you the day before yesterday. And you had very close for the best slide because you had a lovely green Range Rover in your last slide, and I am a Land Rover freak, so cool. Simone, unconscious bias. Whoa, that's an interesting one. And as you grow older, you start remembering the things that you grew up with, and you think more and more about how the things that I learnt aren't necessarily the right things to learn. Interesting, because when I look at the Māori members of our audience here, you know, I learnt a colonial view of my history. Am I at fault? I am if I don't listen to you. So therefore, I want to listen. And therefore, I want to listen not just for me, I want to listen for my granddaughter. 6 months old, absolutely gorgeous, and she hopefully is going to grow up in a culture where we are bilingual and more inclusive in the environment. So allow me to be me with all my faults, and I will allow you to be you. Makers, well, cool. Making stuff, I love building stuff, right? That's just cool shit. Emily, sorry, I'm going to keep on going because Emily, like, professional decisions outweigh personal decisions. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I've never thought about it that way. Derek, Whare, Kay Marie, forging relationships, we've got to do that. Like, we're not going to do it by being at loggerheads. We need to form relationships. We need to co-create agreements between the natural instigators of this land, you know, the concept of this land being permanent and forever, and yet our buildings we treat like temporary structures. Like, we actually need to more add permanence into what we do and paint that part of it. Jane, integrator, when I spoke to you last, you were going to spend 6 months, 9 months just learning and listening. That's a good way to start. It's a good way to start. And to Andrew and my team, I've been taking a little bit of a hiatus for the last few months for a personal reason, but in reality, it's been great because it's enabled me to sit back and think about what I want to do with my future. And yes, at 65, you think maybe I don't have one, for you really young people. But hey, I've got lots to learn yet, and I'm looking forward to that environment. So thank you for picking up the mantle and helping me with that. And my last two things are about let's create an umbrella for our organisations going forward. Over 100 and something different organisations serve our industry. Let's bring them together. Let's get that common purpose. Let's look at those three main points that Jane raised in her slide. Let's start at that, but use it as a start. And finally, a little bit of analogy, and thank you, Petra, because you allowed me to do this. Shit always flows downhill. I'm sorry, and that's both figuratively and literally. So when you take the literal thing and what we do in buildings and things like that and we design them, sometimes we actually do forget that poo pipes should go downhill. And sometimes we forget that we shouldn't put structures in place of it. And then there's the figurative side. Generally, when something goes wrong, we pass it down to somebody else to solve, right? And that works for a little while. And what happens after a while is that problem builds up. And eventually that shit pipe bursts. And generally you'll be in the fire line at that point. So it's a lot easier to solve it before you get to that point. Thank you very much for being here today. I've enjoyed the partnership that we've created with the NZOB. I'm looking forward to the future. Thank you. All yours, Pam.
Thanks, Dennis, with that vivid anecdote in mind. I just wanted to say thank you to a few people, show you just really briefly a couple of slides, a couple of things we want to let you know are coming up, and then a short video. So first of all, big thanks to our sponsors. We couldn't be here without you, and we're also incredibly looking forward to the LT McGuinness drinks that are coming up very soon. I wanted to point out a few people who have been really helpful today. Is Julianne still here? Julianne, thank you for being our timekeeper this morning. To all our students and startups, thank you for being part of today. To the Institute board, thank you for being here in person. To all our lovely BIMinNZ groupies, thanks for being a massive part of this journey. To Kay Marie, thanks for holding the torch for the rangatahi for the students and their briefing last night. That was awesome, great leadership. To my home team, I know Jenny has had to go, but Hannah, thanks. Chloe, thank you. Sophie, awesome. Barry in Auckland. And Raina, can someone bring the flowers? Raina, just a little present for you. Yeah, yes. Yeah. For those that don't know, this is Raina, who is the Institute's National Events Lead. Do you want to say anything? Okay, Raina says thanks for the flowers. Cool. So I just want to, think that's us good. Obviously, thank you for attending. I know it's been a really long day. One little gift is that we're going to take you half an hour earlier into drinks. So the quick little updates. So Jason Howden, you're here. Jason, at the back, wonderful. So you'll be able to get up close and personal with your questions with Jason through Industry Insights. It's a similar thing with the Slido and interactive engagement. So please join us for that. I might not be on this clicker. Am I on another? Oh, I am. Cool. Awesome. Something that we want you to know about is that our institute is 40 years young this year. We just announced that yesterday. We will be doing all kinds of fun stuff, and we're about to show you a quick little video. And we have got 2 lots of really awesome awards in progress at the moment. Our Building People Awards, which is our grown-up awards, if you like, going to be on in August at Te Pai in Otatahi, Christchurch. So those are open for entering yourself in at any stage. And our Next Gen Awards, now this is when I really need your help. I don't know what you've found about some of our younger folks, our students, our apprentices and our cadets, but sometimes they're not so good at nominating themselves for awards. So we would really appreciate it if you could actively nominate someone, shoulder tap them. I mean, all they have to do is like a 1-minute video or something, right? Super easy. On their phones, they can do it anywhere. So we would love it if you can help us with that one. That's not something we can do on our own, I'll be honest. Cool. So that's the things that are coming up. Maybe if we could we've got a quick 3-minute video which we launched yesterday, which is a little bit of information about the Institute. So we'll just line that up for you.
This year, the New Zealand Institute of Building is turning 40. To celebrate this significant birthday, we will give each of our members a gift. We are creating a book to celebrate the past 40 years, which will feature our fantastic members who have been the heart of the Institute of Building whānau. We will remember where we have come from and then look to the future. We've taken this anniversary as a moment to reflect on where we have come from and where we are going. It's not a midlife crisis, but it could be a turning point, an opportunity for growth. What's the next 40 years going to look like? What about the next 5 or 10? At the end of last year, we held member meetups around the country to hear directly from you, our members, about what you wanted from your institute. This year, we heard from you through our membership survey. We asked you what you liked about the institute, where you see us going, and what you think we could be doing better. There were 3 things that came up again and again for our members that were important about the institute: connection, belonging, and giving back. These 3 things are at the heart of what we do and will continue to be the ideas that shape us.
To make sure we're a relevant and thriving organisation over the next 40 years, we need to grow our membership by attracting and retaining new members. That growth will help us build financial resilience, which will help us to train the next generation. We need to be a place for the next generation of talent and a wider pool of talent in this industry. We want to be a place where anyone in the industry can connect and feel they belong. To reach this goal, we will focus on innovation, inclusion, and encouragement. So, how might we do this? How might we be instantly recognizable as a brand in the industry? How do we refer to ourselves? Does our name reflect who we are? How might we be more visible to those out there who would benefit from joining us?
We've taken the feedback from you, our members, and we're also looking at seeking expert advice. We'll look to refresh how we present ourselves in a way that reflects who we want to be. We will make improvements so our current and future members can find us and the information they need easily. But we're not just focused on the exterior, we're taking stock of what we do and how we do it to make sure our members are getting the best possible experience. Our members are the centre of everything we do. We're excited to share these next steps with you. We want you to be a big part of the evolution of your institute. We'll be coming out to you soon to help us fill our 40th birthday book with your stories, memories, and images of the institute. We're also hoping you'll get involved with 40 Good Deeds events, which will be taking place around the country to help give back and do something good. We've even got a delicious surprise gift for all those at the awards in August. Here's to another 40 years.